Several years ago, when we were building cabins at our camp up at Knossi Lake, we decided we'd rent a skid steer, a bobcat, so that we could move sand around and level out the ground for the cement pads and different things. The skid steer got delivered to the camp on a Saturday, and so my buddy Justin and I decided that we were going to use this thing to do all kinds of stuff. We would drag trees out of the woods and move some rocks and a bunch of stuff and basically just play with the skid steer. We did that all day Saturday, and then near the end of the day we got thinking, the dock that we usually put out in the lake, we usually stick that out there by hand. Why don't we take the skid steer down on the beach, and then we could push it out with that, and we wouldn't have to go in the water, and it'd be really nice. So late in the day we drive the skid steer down onto the beach, and we get over by the dock and we start pushing it, and we get stuck. Like really stuck. And we can't get the thing back out. There's nothing we can do. It's stuck in the mud right up to its axles. And it was a long weekend. We couldn't get anybody to come out and tow us, and so we had to leave the camp that Saturday with this skid steer stuck on the beach, knowing that the guy who was coming on Monday to do the cement pads needed it. I felt horrible. So what we ended up doing was calling a farmer that lives nearby, a guy that we know, and Cameron had to come down with his tractor, drive all the way down to the camp, pull this thing out of the mud, and then drive all the way back home. And the thing that made me feel worse about that was that it was seeding time. So we wasted this guy's whole day as he had to come and fix our mistake for us because we were just kind of stupid. The next week, I ended up at the camp again, and as I walked onto the campus, I looked around and I saw the farmer's wife, a lady by the name of Margaret. And I felt so bad. I went over to her and I said, "Margaret, I am so sorry. We were just so dumb. We wasted your day and we shouldn't have been doing that." And I was going on and on apologizing to her because we'd made this dumb mistake. And she stopped me in the middle of my apology and said, "Tim, you weren't doing something stupid. You were trying to do something good." I have never forgotten that sentence. It was the most gracious and beautiful thing because I was beating myself up and calling myself stupid and saying how dumb I was, and we actually had made a mistake, but she was so gracious about it. She could have been mad, she could have told me off, but she didn't. She just said, "You weren't being dumb, you were trying to do something good." Her gracious response changed the entire thing for me. I thought about that story again this week because we're all stuck inside. And as much as you love your family and maybe your coworkers and other people, at some point you're going to get on somebody's nerves and they're going to get on your nerves. Somebody's going to say something stupid. Somebody's going to do something stupid. You're going to run into people at the gas station who are griping and complaining. And here's what I'd like you to think. Maybe if we answered graciously, we could change the circumstance. We're going to need one another. And people are going to need someone who can come in and say, "You know what, it wasn't ideal, but it's okay. It's all right." We don't have to be offended. We don't have to get upset. We don't have to fight every fight. It's not ideal, but it's okay. Scripture reminds us that we need one another. We can strengthen one another. We can help one another in times of trouble. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 says this: "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls and has no one to help him up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how could one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." Maybe in this time of isolation, maybe in this time where you're away from people, it's a good chance to remember how much we really need one another, how much we can really help one another. You can be the cord of 3 strands. You can be someone else's strength by just being gracious.